What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It is extremely early in the morning right now, so I apologize for how tired I look, but I need to kind of update you guys on the Evo 9. After I ended out yesterday's video, I got in the car to go drive it, and I pulled out of the shop and the oil light started flickering and then it stayed on constantly, so I immediately shut the car off. I didn't hear any weird noises going on, no knocking, no anything crazy. I checked the oil, it seemed a little bit low, so I put maybe probably like a quarter of oil in there, fired it back up. Still the oil light was on, so I pulled it in the shop. I checked over the oil pressure sender, made sure everything was fine there, made sure the connection didn't have water in it because we had just pressure washed the engine bay, the top side and the bottom side of the engine bay. I blew all that out. That didn't help anything, so I just kind of left the car. What we're gonna do today is hook up a manual oil pressure sender gauge right where the factory sender sits and see how much pressure we're actually getting. So I hope we didn't already blow something on the car. It could be a million different reasons why the car lost oil pressure, but it's kind of got me worried. So this is why I'm up early today. We had really big plans for the car, and I don't know if it's gonna happen if we have to pull the motor and figure out, or at least pull the pan and figure out why we lost oil pressure. But as of right now, I'm hoping it's just the sender that went bad. I know they do go bad on these cars every so often. It's just kind of weird how it was fine when we did that test drive yesterday, and then right after that, the oil pressure light came on. So I'm gonna fire it up right now, make sure that light is still on, because if it's not, then it's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick startup and see what it does. Damn it. All right, light is still on. I'm gonna go ahead, throw in that oil pressure sender, the manual gauge right now. You just don't have to deal with any wiring crap. I have a gauge in here, but it looks like it's not working. It's just stuck at 0 PSI. It was already like that when I bought the car. So yeah, let's throw that gauge in and then start it up again and see what we're actually at for oil pressure. All right, this is where we're at right now. We got a gauge in here. This is just the oil pressure gauge from Harbor Freight, and I have it right there, right above the oil filter. So that should be a very accurate reading. Let's go ahead and fire it up and hope and pray to Lord baby Jesus that we have, I would say 80 to 90 PSI of oil pressure right now. All right, we are at 88 PSI, 87 PSI. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better about what's going on. God damn, it sounds so healthy too. It sounds so healthy. I sure hope that we don't have a problem. Obviously, as of right now, okay, this oil pressure gauge is right next to the oil pressure sender, the OEM sender. The gauge is bolted in right there, right behind that. I won't be able to show you guys on camera because it's kind of hidden, but it's the Evo 9 oil pressure sender location. So if it's right next to it and we're getting still 85 PSI at idle on cold start, that's plenty. Obviously the light shouldn't be on. I don't know what PSI the light triggers at, but I'd guess like 7 PSI. And if we're at 90 PSI and the light's still on, I'm gonna go ahead and say we probably have a bad sender. It's kind of crazy how it all of a sudden went out, but yeah, let's shut this thing off real quick. God, that stupid ass light. I find it very ironic that the sender must have just gone out right now. If we put the motor in the car and the oil light was on, I would understand, because maybe we bumped it when we were working on the engine or something. But to put it in the car, go drive it, the oil pressure light's not off, come back home and then go drive it again and the oil pressure light goes on, seems kind of weird. But anyways, what we're gonna do now is wait for Napa to open. I think they open at 7:30, so we're gonna wait for Napa to open. We're gonna run in, get a new oil pressure sender for the car. Let's hope that they have one in stock. Swap out that sender. Thankfully it's a 9, not an 8, because the 8s are kind of a pain in the ass to get to. Speaking of Evo 8s, beautiful. So yeah, go pick up a new sender, swap it out, and I'm gonna guess that light is gonna go off. Alright, we just fired up the Evo 10 and we're right at like 90 PSI. Right at 90 PSI, idle, cold start, oil pressure. So the Evo 8 and the Evo 10, or the 9 and the 10 have the same oil pressure at 9 has an oil life, the 10 doesn't. So yeah, it's gotta be that sender. Alright, we just went to Napa, picked up a new sensor. It's about $6 for a new one, so it's pretty damn cheap. If this happens to not be the issue, I don't really care that I'm out my $6. So let's get the car jacked up in the air. I finally have my cup of coffee, or I'm having it right now, so I'm a little bit more awake now. So let's get the car jacked up in the air and get the sensor swapped out, fired up, and I'm 99% sure that is gonna fix our oil light issue. If it doesn't, I don't know what the hell's going on. New sensor is installed. Let's fire it up. See if that oil light goes off. If it doesn't, I'm burning this car to the ground. What the hell? Why the hell is the oil light still on? We're getting pressure right by it at 80 psi. I'm so confused now. I'm extremely confused. I'm gonna go do some reading online. Maybe it's a wiring issue now. I don't know. So I went online, did a bit of reading, and made a few phone calls. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. When I pressure wash the engine bay, there has to be water somewhere, either on the connector itself or higher up where maybe like one of the joint connectors is, causing a short and just making that light stay on, because 1 inch away from the sender we have a manual gauge and we're getting perfect oil pressure. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're just gonna put this car completely back together. We're gonna go drive it, and I'm hoping that when the engine gets warm, it's gonna heat everything up and maybe dry out the water. I don't really know. I shouldn't have pressure washed it as much as I did, but it is what it is. I've never ran into something like that before. Let's just throw it back together. Let's go drive the car. I know the oil pressure is fine. If we had a bad oil or low oil pressure on the gauge, of course we wouldn't be going and driving the car, but we're getting good oil pressure. It's not going to hurt anything just because the dummy light is on. The dummy light comes on like at 5 psi. We're getting 90 psi and the light is still on. So obviously something else is going on. Guys, I found out the issue. Wow. I never saw this before, but check this out. Maybe next time I should look a little bit closer to the wiring. God damn, this sucks. My sensor wire is completely tangled up in the CV boot, and it tangled it up so much it completely cut the CV axle boot. Oh man. I hope they sell CV axle boots at Napa, because we're gonna need to replace that. Wow. I feel so stupid. I should have definitely looked at the wiring a little bit better. I just looked at the connector. If I would have looked 2 inches up and noticed that freaking wiring, I wouldn't have had all the stress and trouble that we just went through. So I'm gonna pull the CV axle off. We gotta repair that wire, pull the CV axle off, pull the boot off. I just ordered in a CV axle boot from Napa. It'll be here at 10:30. We're at the store closest to me at 10:30. So we got about 45 minutes to get everything off, get this thing ready, because I have somewhere to be with this car around 1 o'clock today. So we gotta get this thing up and running and driving. Axle is removed and we got the boot off. These boots are super easy to replace, guys. There's no sense in replacing the whole axle. All you have to do is cut each clamp on each end of the boot. There'll be that circle right there on the very end of the axle shaft. That little hub will come off, the boot will slide off, and then you just do the opposite to get the new boot on. I did go ahead and repair the harness. The harness is good to go now. It's zip tied way out of the way. It's extended and zip tied out of the way. There's never a chance it'll ever hit that CV axle boot again. Let's fire her up, make sure the light is off now. Obviously it'll be off now, and wait for that boot to come in. At least I hope the light is off. That'd be pretty shitty if it wasn't. Bam. We have about 30 minutes until that new boot shows up at the Napa local to me. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna get the Evo 8 running again. I'm 99% sure it is the fuel pump relay that we installed. We hardwired our fuel pump so it's constant 12 volts. That's what you kind of need to do for the Walbro 450. So it's hardwired with a relay, and I'm 99% sure one of the wires came off the relay. Very easy to check. Let's pull out the back seat. And I have a whole new relay and actual pigtail harness set up, so it'll never happen again. It did happen in the shop when I was just messing around, and then after that third gear pull for the data log, I'm pretty sure it happened again. So let's pull out the seat, see if that actually is the issue. This thing's like a parts container right now, so it should be right under this plastic piece. Pull up the carpet, and maybe not. It looks like everything on that relay is fine. Let's check the other end where it's connected to the battery. Well, it looks like that fuse did its job. I think that's too small of a fuse. I think we need to be running a 30 amp, and that was a 20 amp. It just broke pulling out of there, but yeah, that fuse is fried. It's definitely our issue. I was pretty confident it was something easy. Let's throw in a new fuse. I'm still gonna redo that relay setup just so I don't have to worry about it. And then we have a few other things as well to fix on the car. I still think we did have a bad cam sensor because the car was like misfiring randomly, and then as soon as we put the new cam sensor in there, it was good to go. So yeah, let's swap out that fuse. We do also have a new ignition coil harness to put in here as well from JD Customs. I'll kind of explain that here in a minute, but first off, let's get it running. We just got the 30 amp fuse in there. That should be good. I had a 20 amp in there before, and I'm pretty sure that's why it fried itself. So let's see if this thing will run. We do have the OEM cam sensor in here right now. I think I swapped it over because I thought maybe that was why the car wouldn't start, but she'll run now with a fuel pump that works. At least I hope. All right, something's going on. Okay, I know it's not a fuel issue because we're getting fuel pressure on our regulator. It spikes way up when we're cranking it over, so I know that's not the problem. I am pretty sure that's the OEM cam sensor in there, so I'm gonna swap out with the new one and see if it'll fire then, because I'm 99% sure that sensor's bad. New sensor's in. Let's see what happens. Yeah, something else going on. All right, well, let's swap out our ignition harness. The reason it's all torn apart right now and not clean looking like it should be is because I had a pinched wire underneath the plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap this out right now. JD Customs sent me over a new one, so it should be a pretty easy swap just to kind of rule that out. I know there was like a pinched wire in there somewhere, and that's why I kind of like exposed all the wires and whatnot. So yeah, let's get that guy swapped out and see what happens. Just got the new harness installed. Now let's try it. If that ain't it, I may end up swapping over the crank sensor because that's originally what we thought the problem was. Come on, baby. All right. We ran out of time. We gotta go pick up this CV boot and get the 9 back on the road. I figured I'd swap a few things on this car real quick that were known to be wrong. It's kind of weird that fuel pump fuse didn't fix the starting problem. We're definitely getting fuel now, but I'll figure it out. I know it's something easy. New CV boot has been acquired. Let's go ahead and slap this thing back together. Get it on the car. I want to go drive this damn thing. We drove it like for 2 minutes last night and we haven't really enjoyed it much. So let's get it all together and go for a rip. Well, that was a fun little scare. Made my morning a little bit more interesting than it should have. I literally thought last night when I went to go drive the car that we had like spun a bearing or something, some catastrophic failure to lose all oil pressure, but it was just a dumb little mistake. Obviously I didn't have that wire. There's a little clip on that wire that is bolted onto the block. I had that bolt on there, so I don't know exactly how it caught onto the Steve Axle boot. Doesn't really matter though. $20 later for a new boot. We are back up and running. We're good to go. Let's go jump in the car. Let's go for a drive and let's see how she does. Let's go enjoy the thing and throw some gas in it. Maybe grab a coffee from Bobby and just, you know, have a good day in the car. This thing runs and drives so freaking nice. It's so smooth, it's quiet, it's comfortable, it's not rowdy like my Evo 8. It doesn't make all that much power. I mean, 383, holy shit, guys, look at this. There's 3 moose right by my house. Oh my gosh. Those things are freaking massive. Damn, anyways, 380 is a good amount of power, but yeah, it's just comfortable, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's gonna be weird getting used to a 6-speed. I was cruising in 5th gear and I forgot there's 6 gears on this thing. But I do need to figure out this lean issue. Maybe that fuel pressure regulator is hooked up wrong, the stock one, because I know there's a fuel pressure regulator solenoid which runs over to the regulator itself. So I gotta make sure I got that hooked up correctly, because under boost it goes lean, and then, but other than that, it runs perfectly fine. So I won't get into boost for a while. Yeah, we need to go get some gas. We do need to bleed the ACD system because all 3 lights are on. That means we need to get that bled. So whenever Bobby's over at the house next, we can get that all finished up. This thing's really nice. I love it. I like it a lot. So the only issue I'm noticing is there's a clunk in the rear end. Is there before when I drove home, right after we bought the car, I noticed it. You guys hear that? If I just jam the gas. So it's probably maybe rear diff bushings. It could be like the driveline. Maybe one of the driveline joints is loose or bad or something. I don't really know. Besides the point, I don't really care right now because I'm just happy this thing's up and driving. Running, driving good. Yeah, fix the AFRs, fix that clunk, and we'll have a good, solid daily driver. I feel like I say all the cars are daily drivers, but as of recent, the 10 has definitely been the daily driver of choice. I'm trying to remember what all needs paint if we end up wrapping this car, and it's looking like the front bumper definitely needs to be sprayed. The hood, probably there's some rock chips. I mean, I can touch them up, but I'd probably respray it. We have to figure out what to do with this key. I don't know if they buff out or not. So if that couldn't be buffed out, we'd have to spray this whole freaking side, which would be a ton of work. This is all good. Rear bumper's good. Trunk is good. This whole side is literally perfect. So yeah, pretty much if we get that key mark out, it would be the hood and the front bumper, and this thing would be in pretty dang good condition. I don't know, I kind of want to wrap it though. What do you guys think? I know I already asked you. What do you guys said to wrap it? All right, so we just showed up at Elko Tint Shop. We're not gonna be doing tint on this car today. We might eventually, I don't know. It's already tinted, but we're gonna be doing a ton of other stuff. What are you up to over here?
just finishing up this car. Got everything in the back window and it's ready to go.
Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah, then we can start taking apart yours. What do you think is planned today? You want to like take apart all?
They don't even know what we're doing yet. It's in the next video, bro.
Oh, serious? Let's cut that.
cut that. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video right here. You guys will see in the next video, next episode, what we're doing at Elko. This car is gonna be here for, what do you think, like 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, a couple days.
Maybe even longer, I don't know. Depends on how much stuff we do, but yeah, stay tuned for future episodes with the man himself, Mr. Alex. All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.